Let's be honest. If you're running a business today, you're feeling the heat to adopt AI. But there's this huge nagging question, right? How do you actually do it without putting your most valuable asset, your data, at risk? Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly that. How you can get all the power of AI, but keep it secure. And this really is the core dilemma for so many businesses. You know you need AI to keep your edge, but the thought of sending your private emails, your customer lists, your secret sauce over to some third-party cloud, it just feels like a massive, unnecessary gamble. So what's the move? Okay, let's put a price tag on that gamble. That number you're looking at, over $10 million. That's the record average cost of a single data breach for a company in the US. This isn't some abstract threat. We're talking about a financial hit that could be catastrophic. So, to get you from that scary problem to a solid solution, here's our game plan. First, we'll dig into the dilemma everyone's facing. Then, we'll introduce the private AI solution. After that, we'll show you the actual tools you can use, lay out the numbers to prove the business case, and then wrap up with a clear strategy to get you started. All right, first up, let's really unpack this high-stakes balancing act that, honestly, every company is dealing with right now. It's this constant push to innovate with AI versus the very, very real danger of exposing your data. What's happening is that this mad dash to innovate has created what you could call an AI trap. We're all being pushed to use these amazing tools, but the easiest ones are cloud-based, which means your data leaves your building. And even worse, you've got employees pasting who knows what into public chatbots. We call that shadow AI. When you realize that 63% of companies don't even have rules for this stuff, you see how these little leaks can end up costing nearly $700,000 more than a regular breach. It's a huge blind spot. But what if you didn't have to make that choice between being innovative and being secure? Well, that's exactly where private AI steps in. This is the solution that lets you get back in the driver's seat and take full control. So what is private AI? It's actually a pretty simple idea, but it's a total game changer. It just means you run those powerful AI models, the same kind of tech that powers the big cloud services, but you do it all on your own computers, on your own servers. Every single thing, from the question you ask, to the data you use, to the answer you get, it all stays safely inside your firewall. Nothing ever leaves. This chart just lays it all out, crystal clear. With cloud AI, your data is on their servers. You're paying them again and again every time you use it. And at the end of the day, you have very little control. Private AI completely flips the script. The data is on your infrastructure. You pay for the hardware once, and you have total, complete ownership. And the security payoff here is huge. You're basically creating your own Fort Knox for AI. Everything is encrypted inside this closed loop. Suddenly, proving you're compliant with regulations like HIPAA or GDPR becomes way, way easier because you can track everything, you get to decide exactly who can access it, and you totally eliminate that sneaky risk of a breach happening because some other company on the same shared cloud system had a vulnerability. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but you're probably wondering, how do we actually do it? So let's get practical. The good news is private AI is not some far-off dream. It's totally achievable right now with tools and hardware that are surprisingly accessible. For your tech team, your developers, there's an amazing tool called Ollama. It's a super simple way for them to get these powerful models up and running. And here's the best part. It has an API that looks just like the ones from big players like OpenAI. That makes it incredibly easy for them to switch their existing apps over to your new private system. Now, for everybody else in the company, the people who don't live in the command line, there's LM Studio. Think of this as the beautiful, user-friendly app for your private AI. Anyone can browse, download, and chat with models, all with a few clicks. It really makes private AI something your whole team can actually use. And for those situations where you need the absolute highest level of security, there's GPT for All. This is the one you choose when you need to be completely disconnected. Once you download the models, it can run with a zero internet connection. This is perfect for what we call air-gapped networks, which you see in government, law firms, or super sensitive R&D. But what about the computer to run it on? This table breaks it down pretty simply. And honestly, for most small and medium-sized businesses, that mid-range tier is the sweet spot. We're talking around $1,500. That's a machine powerful enough to be a reliable AI workhorse for your team. It's a one-time investment that unlocks unlimited usage. All right, now for the part that every CFO and business leader wants to see. Let's talk dollars and cents. What is the actual return on investment for going private with your AI? This chart tells the whole story. You can see that over 3 years, that one-time hardware cost, plus a little for electricity, comes in under $2,000. Now, compare that to the API fees from cloud providers, which just keep adding up and up and up. For the same usage, you could easily spend $9,000 or more. The long-term savings are just massive.
And that financial picture leads us directly to this number. For a typical business using AI moderate amount, you can expect to get a full return on that hardware investment in just 1 to 2 years. Think about that. After year 2, you're essentially getting unlimited AI for just the cost of keeping the lights on.
And look, this isn't just theory. Check out this real-world quote from a healthcare compliance officer. They're processing sensitive medical records without ever worrying about a HIPAA breach. And the kicker? Their entire $2,200 system paid for itself in only 8 months. I mean, that's the dream, right? Perfect security and an insanely fast ROI. Here's another fantastic example, this time from a law firm. This partner explains how they analyze confidential client agreements offline. You just can't do that on a public cloud and maintain attorney-client privilege. And the result is incredible. Not only is their data secure, but their associates are getting through initial reviews 65% faster. That is a monster productivity gain. Okay, so let's say you're sold. You see the security benefits, you see the business case. The last piece of the puzzle is, how do you actually roll this out safely? So let's walk through a simple 4-step plan for a secure launch. The main thing to remember here is that security isn't just a product you buy, it's a process. It all starts with putting your server behind a solid firewall. Next, you control exactly who gets in using proper authentication. Step 3, and this is important, only download your AI models from places you trust and double-check them to make sure they haven't been messed with. And finally, just like any other software, keep it updated. It's a simple checklist that gives you total peace of mind. So, we'll end on this one question. At the end of the day, your data is the lifeblood of your company. It's your most valuable asset. Now that you've seen the risks of the public cloud and the clear security and financial benefits of a private solution, you really have to ask yourself, who are you trusting with it?